Hello and welcome. I'm Arkayla. If you're new to this channel, it is focused on helping you to become much more in alignment with your soul self. I do this through sharing channeled messages, insights, and practices to assist your journey. Today's channeled message with the Pleiadians focuses on the masculine and feminine energies that are shifting at this time, how we're being called into greater alignment with our divine masculine and divine feminine, and some tips to support us on this journey. Before I drop in, I would like to invite you to join me for the Art of Alchemy series. I'll be starting at the equinox. In this series, I'll be sharing quantum alchemy techniques that I use to support my relationship with my soul light, as well as helping myself become as clear a channel as I can be. If this feels like something that would be supportive to you, you can find a link to sign up for more information in the copy below this video. I will now drop in. Dearest ones, it is a joy to be with you here today. Today we would like to talk about the energies of the masculine and feminine. For indeed, there is a great shift occurring on the planet at this time. Many of you have spent the last 6 months reacquainting yourself, recalibrating yourselves with your masculine energy. For those of you who identify as the female or the male, this has been a very big change in how you perceive yourself as that sex. Because you have each been invited into certain experiences which have amplified the gender of that energy, the masculine or feminine. It is through this amplification of this energy that you have experienced yourself in new ways. For indeed, the masculine energy has been perceived as very toxic for quite some time. And this is because the characteristics associated with masculine energy have been primarily based on competition, survival, control. However, divine masculine energy is actually quite contrary to most of this. Divine masculine energy is about being able to hold oneself steady. It is about being able to cultivate very secure boundaries. Not boundaries that repel others. It is rather about boundaries within oneself, around what one feels good about, secure about, comfortable with, within themselves. We would like to spend a little time here with boundaries because there can be a lot of confusion around this subject. Boundaries are often perceived as a way of keeping people away or outside of something. However, what we would like to highlight and offer here is that when we speak of boundaries from a personal context, what we actually speak to is how you relate to certain boundaries within yourself, around what you feel is appropriate within yourself in certain areas. For example, how you choose to treat yourself, how you choose to communicate with yourself, where your boundaries are around this. This is divine masculine energy when it is used correctly. For example, being mindful of where one allows one's thoughts to go, into what energies, into what fields of alignment. For example, if one allows one's thoughts to go in a certain direction, they can take one into places which feel very uncomfortable. When one has healthy masculine boundaries that are activated within them, they are able to observe the direction their thoughts and feelings are taking them in and be able to exercise control so that they come back into a steadier place within themselves. These are the divine masculine boundaries that we are referring to here, taking care to be mindful around how one is taking care of themselves within themselves. These are healthy boundaries, and of course boundaries are applicable to others, but not so much from a perspective that one must impress upon others how one feels. Boundaries are more about how you decide to interact with others from a place of making choices within yourself about what feels good to you and aligning yourself from that place. And so discerning, feeling into what feels appropriate, what actions and what kind of people feel appropriate to you in terms of who you wish to blend your energy with, support your energy with. These are all opportunities for you to make conscious, powerful choices which reflect the boundaries you are maintaining for yourself. Often people think their boundaries are being impacted by others. We would maintain that your boundaries are entirely your responsibility, for it is up to you to decide how you wish to be witnessed and treated in the world, and the best way to inform others about this is to gently make powerful choices within yourself about where you wish to be and in whose company you wish to spend your time. For indeed, it is through making mindful, conscious choices around these areas that you naturally create boundaries around which other people are able to understand what is appropriate and inappropriate for you. It is not necessary to go around and tell everybody what you find appropriate necessarily. Indeed, there may be some extreme circumstances where this is the case. However, generally speaking, what we wish to highlight for you is the amount of control and power you have over yourself, over the lifestyle that you choose to lead. Often there is an issue with the human collective around certain social obligations they feel they need to live up to. We draw your attention to this so that you can start to make more conscious choices about how you wish to be in the world. For in doing so, you take greater responsibility for the part that you play in the world. And this empowers you to feel like a more proactive, conscious creator rather than a recipient of a victimized world that you live in. We would suggest it is simply a question of taking more care, being more purposeful, intentional about how you spend your energy, how you work with your energy, who you choose to keep the company of. Returning now to the energy of the masculine, for indeed this has been a big area of growth for many of you, as we have said, in the last 6 months, but for many as well the last few years. And this is because what is happening on a collective level is a great shift in the masculine relationship. And it is understanding at a primal level what masculinity can mean to you as individuals and as a collective. How taking care of oneself, one's space, one's internal space as well as one's external space, and how in doing so it is able to support the feminine. For in being mindful of taking care of oneself on a physical, mental and emotional level, naturally there is safety created. which therefore allows the feminine aspect to flourish, to blossom, because the feminine does best when it is in an environment in which it feels secure, in which it feels looked after, nurtured, supported. When this occurs, the feminine can blossom. For indeed, the feminine loves nothing more than to create, to feel, to enjoy, to expand, to amplify. The masculine likes to create structure, to create security, to create support. And so you see how beautifully the two co-create together. We understand why many of you, when listening to this, naturally think of men and women that you know or are. However, we would bring to your attention that these energies are present in you as an individual. And the primary focus of these two energies transforming into a more balanced state has been taking place within each of you as individuals. This is a large part of the journey you have been on, as we have said, over the last few years, and particularly in the last 6 months. What you are witnessing on the global stage is an amplification of energy around the masculine that is no longer really in alignment with the collective's direction. In spite of how it may appear, as we have made reference to, there is growing momentum of a heart-natured energy, a heart-centered energy, which is largely due to the shift between the masculine and feminine that has been taking place. This newfound sense of gentle balance within you all is going to start to amplify this year. And we wish to bring your attention to the masculine and feminine aspects of each of you at this time, as we come into the end of this month, as we come in to the new moon, which is coming upon us shortly. For indeed, it is this masculine-feminine energy that is recentering itself, recalibrating itself, you might say. And so we bring your attention to this so that you can be mindful of how you are relating to the masculine energy within you. The reason that we are focusing particularly on the masculine is because this has been an area of great wounding for many. Many of you here are very much in the process of healing this relationship with your masculine. And we would say that you have done a lot of work on this, and that many of you are moving in to a more divine relationship with your masculine as you come into a better level of relationship with yourselves generally. However, we do want to point this out to you, as there is a great tenderness around this at this time in the collective, as many of you are really facing what is the last remnants of conflict within yourselves around how you should be showing up. Because this pressure that has been built, particularly around the masculine, in terms of having great expectations on the kind of achievements you should have made in your life, this really does reflect a lot of toxic masculine energy traits. We would say that this is present for many of you at this time. However, this is symptomatic of really what is shifting and healing within you. It is when these aspects of you are felt very strongly that they are able to be alchemized within you. And through the alchemization of these parts of you, you are able to come into gentler places within yourselves. And in the process, a refreshed experience with your own personal masculine energy. It is really by transforming this relationship with your masculine, that the feminine aspect will really be able to ground itself into your being. And this is where the unseen will become so much more seen, as the amplification of the feminine will be able to become much more empowered because of this new and healthier relationship with your masculine, which inevitably supports and empowers the feminine. We wish to bring your attention to this so that you are able to navigate any challenging experiences that are arising internally around expectations, what we would even suggest are unreasonable expectations. For indeed, all of you have been through so much internal change, particularly, as we have said, over the last 5 years. To place such great expectations continually on oneself, which derive from comparisons which are actively amplified in the collective culture, is grossly unfair and unnecessary. It is this entire construct of comparison that is actually being demolished, dismantled at this time. For it does not create a healthy dynamic within the individual self. It creates a lot of internal conflict, which weakens you overall and keeps you in a state that is not beneficial. And this is why this work is coming up within you on a very fundamental level, because your soul selves are all bringing you into greater and greater self-empowerment. Because each of you here has a powerful role to play in the shift that is occurring. Each of you here, as we have said and will continue to say, is a great bearer of light. The more confident you feel, the more enabled you will be to share your light, simply through your own personal enjoyment of it. As you become steadier and steadier in your masculine, your feminine aspect will be able to flourish. As we have said, through this process, your soul light will naturally expand as you become more at peace with yourself. And so we will finish by once again reiterating, bring your awareness particularly to how you are keeping your internal narrative. Are you tending to it mindfully? Are you being aware of where you are allowing the narrative to go? In what direction energetically? Are you using your divine masculine, stepping into what is possible for you by being very aware of how you are showing up for yourself in keeping yourself in a steady place? And to be clear, this is not about creating more rules to live by. This is about a parental energy. This is about stepping into your own father energy. Fathering yourself, you might say. Mothering yourself, you might say. Observing, perhaps, narratives that can be quite self-destructive, self-critical, self-analytical. Observing them, catching them, you could say, and reassuring yourself, this is how I have been, but there is change taking place, and this is what I would like to replace this thought with, or this is where I would like to redirect my thoughts, not becoming upset or punitive in any way towards yourself. This is really about simply guiding oneself into a new way of being with great compassion, with great forgiveness, with great acceptance. For all of you have been brought up in a world where being critical was glorified. And it is this very pattern of behavior that this shift in the masculine is going to dismantle. We hope that this supports you, dear ones. We are with you always.